Aleksandra's been getting advice from Dan White of Cube to get the lay down on the bike.
I think one other thing while you're here, we actually have Jenny Gowans, one of our sponsored athletes. Jen won the Norseman triathlon last year, so she's really something quite special. I think her depth of knowledge would be a real use to you. I think we should introduce you, sit down, have a nice chat, perhaps discuss your training plan a little bit with Jen, and yeah, see what advice she can give you. All we need to do now is a little bit of branding. This is your first Cube item. I'd like to see you walking around in that.
Oh, thank you very much.
No trouble at all.
Thank you, that's fantastic.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you. So really, in a triathlon, what should I concentrate on the bike, on the bike leg?
Okay. Well, I think the thing to remember about a triathlon bike leg is effectively a time trial. So it's the fastest way to get from T1 to T2, and you need to think about what's the most efficient way for your body to do that when you're on the bike. So when you're coming out of the swim, when you're coming up into T1, you should be thinking about what you need to do in T1 to get through there and out and onto the bike. And then once you're on the bike, your full focus should switch to the bike and the bike only for a good portion of it. Don't be thinking too far ahead. You should know that you've got to run, and you should always have that slightly in the back of your mind so that you conserve your legs a little bit for that and your energy. But really decide that you're going to focus on that portion of the race and really focus on the bike.
So in terms of cadence and preserving energy, what's the best way to preserve energy and go fast at the same time?
Well, it's something that, and it's a bit of a learning process, and you will learn the more you ride your bike, how you feel on the bike. So everyone has a natural cadence on the bike, and that's the speed that they feel most comfortable with their legs spinning around at. You need to slightly find out what that is, but you probably automatically fall into what feels the best for you. The higher cadence, the higher you're spinning your legs, the harder work it is on your heart, and you will really feel that. So if you're spinning very quickly, then it's a lot harder on your heart. When you drop the cadence down, you will start to feel it a lot more on your legs because you're trying to push a bigger gear, and you're asking these big muscles to really work. So you'll feel it quickly. So what you're looking for is a balance between the two, that you're not spinning along at too high a level, that you're still getting some real grunt out of your big leg muscles.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, and I
didn't realise that higher cadence.
Yeah, and you'll notice it. So sit there, and if you've got a cadence meter, or even if you count, sit there and try and spin out at about 110 or 120. Yep. And it will start to feel quite hard work on your heart, and your legs will be spinning around very quickly. Then drop it down to about 70 or 60, and it will be really working hard through your muscles. Now, a good balance in the middle of there, you will see that most good triathletes will be somewhere in the 80 to 100 cadence range of their legs going around.
What about drinking on the bike?
Yeah.
I mean, do you need to? It's quite difficult for someone whose bike handling isn't very good to sort of keep pulling the bottle out, and then you slow down, and people just worry.
Yeah, exactly. So it's only 20 kilometres, and you need to think about how long that's going to take you. For people that are going to be at the slower end of the field, perhaps they are going to need to be able to take a drink on. But if it's not going to take you too long, I don't think you need a large amount of fluid. If you've had some fluid before the race starts, maybe if you're worried about it, it's a good idea. If you're not confident of taking the bottle out of your cage while you're riding, have a bottle at T1 when you come out of the water, and have a quick drink before you jump on your bike and go. So you've got a little bit of fluid in there anyway. And you can do the same at T2 when you come off your bike. So my opinion is if you're going to be nervous taking your bottle in and out of the cage, or if it's going to slow you down and things, then I wouldn't worry about it on a short distance race. It is a matter of just practicing, and I practice when I'm training, being able to basically not affect my cycling rhythm at all as I reach down to get a bottle and have a drink, and you'll get very confident that you can just hold one hand on the bars and the bike will be as stable as it is with two hands.
The thing that I would be most afraid of is not so much my legs, but the puncture and the panic that I would get into, in the middle of a race, having to, try and detach the wheel and then get it off and get the tyre off.
Sure.
So what do you need to know?
Okay. Well, you need to carry with you a spare inner tube, some tyre levers, either a pump or a gas canister to inflate the tyre once you've changed it. And it's really worth practicing once how to change a tyre. I think it's disappointing to start a race and to get a puncture halfway around and to not be able to finish. So you're going to lose quite a bit of time while you change the puncture, and it might be a long time if you're really unsure about what you're doing, but it would still be nicer to cross the finish line at the end. The great thing about most races is they do have some support out on the bike, and they will be nice enough to help you if they can. It might take a while for someone to get to you, but you should always be proficient enough to change your own tyre. I mean, a really amazing thing is the current Ironman women's champion, world champion, she had a flat tyre. Exactly.
Actually, I know about
so she had quite a difficult, exactly, and she still won. So it's possible.
Before Aleksandra can start training on the bike properly, there's a certain matter of clipless pedals to deal with. She's been told that she will fall off while she gets used to the pedals, so an old airfield seems like the best place for the first ride. There's a standard method to release the shoes, but there's no quick way to get used to it. Only repetition will do.
But it's a bit overwhelming, really. God.
Near misses?
Yeah, I clipped in just as I slowed down, so I didn't quite. Took me by surprise. Actually, it feels pretty good when you're clipped in, but it's just you have to remember all the time. And then the fear that you're not going to be able to clip out. But it feels fantastic when you're riding. It's really good. You and your bike stuck together. It could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Well, I need to go on the road now. I hope I'm not going to fall over. Please, don't let me fall over.
Next time on Trading Up, Joanne and Richard coach Aleksandra in the Zen art of transition. There's one last final training push, and the moment of truth arrives, the big race.